Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Landy of Insight Neuropsychology in Ventura County, California. For this video, we're going to discuss how to understand dementia, specifically the behaviors you sometimes see. We'll talk about how to make sense of them and some ways you can try to interact and intervene, either with your own loved ones or with people you're working with. I hope you find this helpful.
So now some basic things about what we should do when working with dementia. And first, let's talk about a case example. We just talked about a lot of problem behaviors. Now I want to talk about more of a general approach to working with dementia. So we have somebody who's been living in the home for about 18 months. A lot of agitation, yelling, crying, wandering, not really communicating effectively, pretty resistant, even to the point where they're aggressive. Lots of problems, right? You probably had these types of cases at times, or heard about them. So let's take a look at this guy. He's a little older now. But the point I want to get across here is his behaviors at that time, although frustrating for us, were completely normal for his brain's development. And when you think about dementia, that's the same type of thing you want to be aware of. That although the behaviors may seem extreme or bizarre or frightening even, they're normal for what's going on with the person's brain. There is some rhyme and reason to it. One way to really think about this is really think about their behaviors as a form of communication. So realize that when you have a baby, and I've had 3 of them, so I know all about this. When you have a baby, they can't talk to you and tell you what's wrong, right? When a baby cries, what does it mean?
Stress.
I'm sorry? Maybe they're stressed, maybe hungry, maybe they're wet or cold, maybe they're in pain, right? It's our job to figure out which one it is, hopefully quickly, so it's not too bad. Same kind of thing with dementia. When people are having problems with reasoning skills and communication, we need to look at their behavior to figure out what's going on here. To realize most of these negative behaviors that we're talking about and people are frustrated by it, this is not an evil person. It's usually situational. It's not there all the time, but something's causing it to be triggered. So we need to try and really just be calm about it, make them safe in the moment, and then really try to learn about what's triggering this or what support can we give them so this doesn't occur again or that it's lessened if it does happen. But some things you're not going to be able to stop, but we can make them a little bit easier to handle. There's a lady, I think over in Camarillo, that the sheriffs were telling me, she's concerned about some type of evil force in the house. So what they did was, when they come to visit, they would call her a couple times a day to come and dispel this evil force. So one of them downloaded a little fake Geiger counter thing on his cell phone. So when he goes there, he just walks around the house with that, and she feels a lot better because he shows her it's not there. So now she only calls about once a week. So she's still calling, but not multiple times a day now. So it's a lot more effective for them. So a lot of times for these types of things, you need to figure out what's going on here, what's going to be the best thing to reduce that kind of concern. In her case, it's a psychosis, but he figured rather than trying to convince her or tell her it's okay, he did something he could actually show her. He put on a little bit of a show for her, and that made her satisfied. So really, any type of dementia situation, try to think about what's going on here, what are they trying to communicate to us. So think about what are they reacting to, like I mentioned, look for the meaning, try to figure out what's going on in this situation that's causing it, and then if possible, try to talk to caregivers and family to really learn about their history to see when has this occurred before, what's been helpful for it, what has not been helpful. That way you don't have to repeat things that aren't going to work. And again, these are kind of the same instructions I give about working for any senior. When you're working with someone with dementia, take it slow. One question at a time, one issue at a time. Don't try to overwhelm them. Repeat things if you need to. Do a lot of prompting. Do a lot of things to keep them focused on you. A lot of use of your hands, nonverbal communication. And one thing I would mention is, how do you like it when someone stands over you and talks to you?
It's not comfortable.
You want it? Now think about someone who has dementia where they're losing some of their reasoning abilities. It makes you uncomfortable. It's going to frighten them a lot more. So realize even when you're talking to these people, think about your body awareness. Don't get too close, give them their personal space. Maybe get down on their level and talk to them. So you want to make sure that they're comfortable. Think about it like as a child or even like an animal. Because they're functioning on a more instinctual level, you need to be aware of that. And try to think about how is your behavior affecting the situation. In general, don't try to argue with them. You never win. I've never met anyone who's actually won that argument with someone with dementia. They're just going to get more angry and you're going to get more angry. That's when you want to try to more think about that distraction and redirection techniques. Try to understand where they're coming from. Even if it doesn't make sense, if you can understand where they're coming from, that might give you some ideas about how to move forward. So when people are scared there's some contamination in the carpet, at least you can talk to them about that type of thing and figure out, okay, well, what can we do to make you feel better? Can we buy you some runners? Things like that. In general, try to avoid restraints if you can. Again, think back to that instinctual level. If I hold you down, how are you going to feel? You're going to fight. It's not like someone where they're more with it and they're going to be able to calm down. And one other thing to keep in mind about dementia is just because they have dementia does not mean they can't insult you really well. Sometimes they're really good at it, and because they're less inhibited, that makes them even better. So just realize, don't take it personally, it's the dementia talking. Some of them are mean, of course, in the first place, but usually it's the dementia talking. So try not to take anything too personally. And again, going back to this point, if you can understand what's happening, you can forgive them and move forward in that situation. So final thoughts there. Working with dementia, again, try not to take behavior personally. Realize complexity is going to be confusing for people, so keep it simple. Sometimes you're going to have to insist on medical care. You're going to see something where the person's just not getting the support they need, and you're going to have to really try to get that for them and try to contact caregivers or family. And just to also really be aware that there are a lot of resources in the county, and most of them are free to really support caregivers and help them in dealing with people with dementia. So we have the Alzheimer's Association. They have support groups, of course, but they also do a lot of other things. They have case management services. They can help people find resources. Same thing for the Caregiver Wellness Center over in Camarillo. Lots of resources for people with dementia and lots of other physical conditions. And then also you have Coast Caregiver Resource Center, also a free organization paid for by the county, by the state. So these are all free organizations that are good to make people aware of when they have a family member with dementia. Because a lot of times it really makes people very lonely and they don't know where to turn or what to do. This helps them with that.
So I hope you found this talk helpful for your work. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns or just want to discuss any issues. We're always happy to speak to you here at Insight Neuropsychology. Thank you.